This is an overview of the grading criteria that will be utilized for assessing your persuasive speech. I just wanted you to be familiar with what the elements of your grade are and the things that I'll be looking for, because this speech is treated as your final. So this is your last opportunity to showcase what you have learned in the course of taking Speech 1100 and applying some of the new concepts that we're learning about persuasion. First, you'll notice that this speech is worth 250 points. This is the speech that is worth the most points out of all the speeches that you've done. So it is the culminating speech for the semester. As you look this over, you're going to notice that the elements that you're being assessed on are primarily the same things that we've been using through all of the speeches this semester. So you're going to notice that the introduction still has the key elements that are included in every introduction. You're going to notice that in the conclusion you have the same three elements that we've been working with on previous speeches. You're going to notice that the visual aid criteria are the same as we've utilized in the past. Again, you're going to notice physical delivery includes eye contact, your stance, purposeful movement, and appropriate attire. So remember that it is important that on this final formal speech you dress appropriately. I'm often asked if students should dress up for a speech, and I always say that if you're going to dress up for any of them, this is the speech to dress up for. The final criteria here, overall effectiveness, you'll also see evidence of preparation, practice, and extemporaneous delivery. So most of what you're getting graded on here in terms of the number of criteria are things that you've been working on all semester. You can also see the percentage points that each element is worth. That is automatically weighted in the grade. So you can make some determinations about where you want to put emphasis. You're going to notice here that in the body of the speech, that has the highest percentage of points. So almost 50%, almost half of your speech is coming from the body. And you're going to notice that in the body, there is logos appeal, pathos appeal, and ethos appeal. Again, those are the Aristotelian appeals that you will be practicing in this particular speech. Again, I have two videos that will be forthcoming that look at logos, pathos, ethos appeal. If you're interested, you can certainly Google Aristotelian appeals or logos appeals, pathos appeals, ethos appeals, and look at other materials that are posted. There's a lot of information out there available about those appeals. I want to point out that logos appeals focus on logic, and that includes things like what organizational format you're using, how you've ordered your claims, and how you've developed your arguments. So please make sure, again, that as you're planning and preparing this speech, you are taking your time, thinking your way through what it is that you're trying to persuade the audience about and how you're going about persuading them. Logos appeals focus primarily on the message, structure, and content. Pathos appeals are emotional appeals. So you're going to look specifically at stories, narratives, examples that add emotional appeal, and also persuasive language choices. A large part of emotional appeal comes through the delivery of your speech and the kinds of examples that you use and the kinds of language that you use to make your point. So if you're somebody who's not particularly used to employing emotional appeals, that may be a little bit challenging for you. Ethos appeal is your credibility, and credibility is primarily going to come through your personal appeal as a speaker, the sources that you utilize, and actually the way in which you deliver your speech. So this criteria looks a lot at sources and how you're citing your sources, but you're going to notice down here that the asterisk, it's also evaluated by delivery and overall effectiveness, and that is evaluated over here in these other criteria. So make sure that you are familiar with these elements of the body of your speech, and if you have any questions, please make sure that you ask them. Finally, again, on every grading criteria sheet, we've had these criteria for exemplary, proficient, competent, developing, and beginning performance. So please make sure that you take a look at each of these descriptions. You can plan ahead for what level of performance you want to deliver. Sometimes students say, you know what, I just would like to be a competent performer. I would like to get a 3 on this. If you want to be an exemplary performer, please notice that it says you must demonstrate mastery of these criteria, and you have to execute your performance with creativity, originality, and polish. It takes time, both planning and preparing, to get yourself to a level that you can actually practice a performance to demonstrate mastery. So if that's the level you would like to arrive at, then you're going to need to put in some extra work on this particular speech to do that. Again, I highly encourage you to work along with your classmates to perfect your performances and practice together, because each of you can help each other achieve that high level of performance and mastery that many of you might like to do. Okay, if you have any questions,